mentioned to us he may be here, but if he is, he'd probably be late.
Okay. Yep, I've gone ahead and started recording the meeting, and I have taken roll. So as I mentioned, we should have one additional region to have a quorum, but we've got good representation from the line offices. And with that, I guess we could turn it over to Ken for an update on what the VLST has been up to.
Okay, great. So we have been focused on a couple projects that are high in profile, specifically one of them being EMC and their migration to VLab. And I think I mentioned this last time we met. They're transitioning all of their projects, there's over 100 of them, to VLab. It's a big transition for them because they're not only moving to the virtual lab, they're also moving from Subversion to Git and using Garrett. And as a result of that, it's required some support from our end, not only in training, but also in additional capabilities. And so that's been time sensitive, so it's been using up a fair amount of our resources. Specifically, we're looking at adding the ability to give outside partners access to Garrett. They have many projects in which the development teams are not only NOAA users, but also other government organizations and university partners. And so that's required some changes on our end, as well as the need to support larger files within Git, which it's not designed to do, but there is a plugin called Git LFS. So, so that's been underway. Let's see, the other, that's been the biggest thing as of late. We've also been, I don't know if others have noticed it, but there have been a number of outages with VLCS. They've been brief, but it's not a good situation, and so we've identified what the problem is. It has to do with VLCS has a feature where it allows for document conversion of like when PowerPoints, more documents and things are uploaded, they get converted to PDF using another open source product called LibreOffice. And apparently there's a memory leak there, and that over time we're running that as a daemon, and it tends to use up the resources. So the short-term fix is to turn off that feature. The longer-term fix, which we almost have a fix ready, is to actually change that logic. So rather than use a daemon or a server process for it, to actually kick it off and convert each document one time. And our performance testing on that has shown that it's comparable in terms of performance. So that's underway, and that's a big thing because it's obviously no one wants to go to the service and have it not be available. So that's happened. It was happening about once a week when that service was off. We had turned it off, but unfortunately the OpenOffice or LibreOffice daemon, when we did the failover and when a server got restarted, it came back on. So that's why we had an issue on Sunday, which didn't impact many people, but it did impact the field because I don't know if everyone knows, but VLab is being used for, there's a tool within the TowerS community where they specify the location for the mesas, the mesoscans that are used with the GO-16 satellite. And so they went to make a change there, and that had some implications. So we're dealing with that. We've also been pushing forward with the licensing for DXP, which is the next version of LifeRay, and that's going to address some of the outstanding requests, specifically dealing with process flow, with the dynamic data list, the forms within VLab, and how files are attached. It'll improve things significantly there. It also will allow us to roll out VLab to the Boulder facility with NCS support, and that all then ties into making VLab quote-unquote operational within from NCO's perspective, and I suspect Steve might get into that. So anyway, we've been quite busy, and then it's been vacation time too. So not a whole lot has changed. On the positive side, we did roll out the look and feel update that I think we talked about last time. So if you go to VLCS, you'll notice it looks a little bit different, hopefully for the better. And it does have the additional capability that within your communities, if you want to have a third tier within the menu bar, you can do that. So previously it only supported top level and a second tier of pages, so now you can have a third tier, which that's been a request that's been outstanding. So I think those are some of the highlights. Are there any questions for me? One other thing I didn't mention is we have been dealing with the upgrade of Garrett, and that's for security reasons as well as new capabilities. And it also, Jason Burks, one of our lead engineers, more senior engineers, he's has a review outstanding for single sign-on for Garrett. So that will be, we're waiting on an update from NCO to be able to push these things forward. And so that's a common theme for us right now too, is that we're waiting on a number of things that we've got outstanding requests where we need NCO's time to make some updates so that we can push things forward. That's it for me at the moment.
Okay, great. Did we want to turn it over to Steve for his update?
Yeah, if there are no questions, one question for you. I see that the look and feel is now there on the VLab, so that's nice. If you go to John, can you bring up the development services?
Yes, sure.
And not bring it. Sorry, it's echo. Bring up the VLab collaboration services menu. Not in Redmine. Go back to LifeRay and just click on. Go to the main VLab page. The home page. You see development services on the top. No. Go back. There's the menu, development services. And if you click on that, see, it takes you to somewhere different than the login. The login's on the right side, but it gives you this project thing, which sometimes loads and sometimes doesn't, because there's so many projects now. Have you seen that issue?
I've never seen it not load. I've seen it take a while to load. Yeah, if we can, we'll take a look and see if we can reproduce that. It uses a cache, so because it is slow, the first time, but that cache should make it so it's pretty quick after that point in time. So,
Okay.
So that's your point, Brian, is that sometimes you've seen it where it doesn't load?
Yeah, it's kind of slow, and yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Okay. With no questions, we'll move on to Steve.
Steve, are you there? Steve Smith?
Shows him as muted, John.
I see him logged in twice. Oh, here we go. Here's his phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
can you
we
hear
can.
Me? All right, I seem to be logged in twice, but you can hear me. Is there an echo? I'm good?
I think you're good.
All right. So two things I'll mention. The first is for those in the Weather Service, 2 weeks ago I was at the MIC-HIC meeting in Indianapolis, and this is a big important meeting gathering all the field managers along with a lot of headquarters VIPs together for sort of a week of plenary talks and discussions about future Weather Service stuff. And our director, Dr. Uccellini, mentioned multiple times the importance of the VLab towards weather services and NOAA's needs. And that was very gratifying to see. And I think he continues to be highly supportive of the effort and recognizes it as a foundational piece to doing a whole lot of things in NOAA, the business of, R2O primarily, but a lot of other things as well, as we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. So, just very good that we continue to get the endorsement and high-level support from executive leadership in Weather Service and other parts of NOAA. So the other thing I wanted to mention, which is that Ken Sparrow alluded to, was we seem to be at a point where we are engaging with NCO to determine how VLab takes on an official operational status within NCO's infrastructure. As most of you know, we are already in an operational infrastructure, but we have a sort of unique designation that makes us at this point officially non-operational, which means that in terms of priorities for bug fixes and NCO system admin support, we are at a lower priority. But increasingly in ways operational, I use air quotes to say that we are relied on on a daily basis, 24/7. So if VLab is broken due to something either we did or NCO did, it needs to get fixed right away. And so our non-operational designation isn't cutting it anymore. So we're going to be discussing with NCO what they need from us or from others in order to officially declare it's operational and be able to provide the support that we need to get bug fix tickets addressed in a timely manner, as well as other things. So hopefully that won't be too big of a lift, but it's probably overdue, maybe long overdue. And when it's done, hopefully that means that some of these fixes that are needed will get done more quickly. I do appreciate, we've seen at least one instance, I think Brian from Eastern Region, where an escalation of a VLab issue was addressed more quickly because it was escalated. So to NCO, but this should make things better, at least from a management standpoint, NCO's management of their portfolio of projects within the IDP. So I think Ken touched upon everything else. There's a lot going on. I think we're all watching this, I would say, huge pivot that EMC is making now to go to VLab and go to Git, and it's not stopping. It's just going to continue, and so we will be watching our resource needs in terms of additional memory, additional bandwidth, etc., and working with, again, NCO to make sure that we stay ahead of the power curve. As you know, VLab performance is not linear. You just can't throw hardware and other things at it and it'll get better necessarily. A lot of the things are sort of bottleneck software issues that Ken and others on the VLST address. And for that type of thing, even though we may find a solution that improves performance dramatically, we do often require the NCO staff to implement something on their end in order to realize that performance increase. And so again, this going to an operational designation hopefully will help that occur more quickly. So I think that's about all I had to add for today's call. Any questions?
So Steve, I'm surprised to hear that about the or the quasi-operational status of VLab. I had figured that when it was integrated into IDP that it would also be considered operational, which it's interesting that it's not. What, in the interim, while you work things on your end, if there are outages of things with the VLab, are we still supposed to report it to the telecommunications operations center in the weather service, or
yes.
what would the other line offices do?
The VLab admin would be the main way to do that. For other issues, contacting the TOC or the STM would be the way to escalate in the interim. I mean, it's basically status quo, and this designation, it's due to the fact that initially VLab did not, we don't produce any operational products that go out to the public like most other things in NCO and IDP. So it was sort of a new animal for NCO. So we, because of that unique designation, we we also have additional controls over our environment that other operational products don't have. And in going forward, we need to make sure that we maintain those controls so that we can provide the sort of application support that we do now, and really only see the change would be that we get better support from NCO, tier 1 support on fixing things. So it's not I think NCO had never seen anything like our service or application. So that's where we landed. And at the time, if anything that was operational would have been much more locked down, and would have, we wouldn't have had the flexibility that we have now to provide the application support. Okay,
that makes sense to keep the group updated on the status of that. And I'm guessing, based on what you were saying, also at what was taking place at the NWS MIC-HIC meeting, that having senior leadership really believe in the VLab is going to make it fairly easy to get NCO to realize that this does need to have some operational or better operational support.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
But, yeah. but
if you need anything from this group to maybe reach out to different senior leaders that we work under, if you're running into any problems with NCO, definitely we could push it from that realm as well.
Yeah. Well, that's an offer we hope we don't have to take you up on, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. Any other questions for Steve? Okay. Very good. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
And I guess I am up on the agenda. You changed that, John, I see, to me. And this is talking about the VIT strategic planning team. Let me take a survey of the people who are on the call. I know Doug, talking to him, he said he sent it out in Southern region. I've sent it out in Eastern region. Have the other people on the call sent it out in their respective regions or line offices or centers?
Hi, this is Tammy in OAR. Our strategic plan lead person was looking at it and wanted to know, before we send it out more broadly, how many people are you looking for?
Okay. I really think no more than one per representative, one per VIT membership, and we might not even need that many. I think we were thinking, maybe a team of 5 or so, and so if everybody got somebody from their line office or region, then we might have more than we need.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Mango, I haven't sent it out for Nesdis.
Okay, will you be able to do that this week, maybe?
I will put it back on the list of things I need to do.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And this is Todd Neeson at NOS. Sorry, when I went to go off mute, I hit hang up instead. I sent it at NOS to our IT leadership structure, which covers all 9 of our program offices. I sent it I forget if it was Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
I did not get a nibble yet, but I'll see.
Okay, sounds good. Kate, what about you and NSEP? Did you have anybody that you could send it to, a group?
There's an EMC all list, and I think there might be an NSEP all list.
Okay.
So I can look into the NSEP all list, but definitely EMC all. Let's see if I can find one.
Okay, great. Thanks. And David?
I don't believe we've sent this out yet. I'll talk to John Eyes and see if he sent this out, but I don't recall. If not, then we'll get right on top of that this week.
Perfect, thank you. John, I guess my suggestion would be for this we sort of ask people, and the people who are on the call are aware of it, but maybe we need to do a sort of checkbox exercise with the membership of the VIT to make sure that they do send it out. Some sort of poll or something. I don't know what your thoughts are, John.
Sure, we can certainly, probably the best way is just to ask. I mean, we've got a good amount of input thus far, so we could contact the stragglers and see how they're doing. Is this, just one bit of clarification, I think when we originally talked about this, it was to be sort of an optional thing. Those who wish to participate could. Are we sort of turning it around and making it more of a please do this kind of request?
Yeah, I thought we were saying that unless you had a reason specifically not to, that we would appreciate if everybody sent it out.
Okay, great. We'll approach it from that perspective. So I will I'll send out an email to everybody asking for a status, and I'll be directing this to just those who have not provided input thus far.
Okay. I mean, if you go back to the meeting notes, what does it say when we were talking about the strategic planning?
I'm pretty sure that I recorded it as those wishing to participate, but that may be an erroneous part of the minutes. In other words, it may not have been quite reflective of our desires.
Okay.
But that's what I think they currently say.
Okay, I'm going back in there. Yeah, I think looking back at it, we said participating VIP members will mail their messages. So I think the intent was that everybody would, if possible.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, next one is also me, I think. And it's on the ideas marketplace, and I don't think I've seen anything happen. I think I've been watching the discussion on this, and I don't think I've seen anything. Where is this under, if I went to go look for it?
This is
Again?
a wiki page, and let's see, I'm trying to remember, I guess I put it out in various emails, but if you want to find it directly, you would go to the team's wiki. And the minutes are probably one way to get there. So, oops, let's see, let me go back. So if you go down here under child pages for the, basically where we go to get the minutes, down here you'll find a list of pages. The Ideas Marketplace Improvement Ideas is one such page. There's also the one we were looking at earlier, the effort to recruit the strategic planning team lead. The text is there as well.
I'm trying to maneuver my way there. Oh, that's odd, and I'm gonna make a note of that. So if you go and click, John, on, let's say, the first meeting minutes.
Okay,
Oh, well, yours opens in a new window. So I guess so does mine. But then when I went back to the meeting minutes, it's okay. So when I go back now, if you go to team discussions, click over to team discussions.
Right.
Now click team documents, meeting minutes. Just on the meeting, no, at the top, team documents, meeting minutes. At the top, team documents.
Okay, here, yes.
Meeting minutes.
Yes.
Now you're back on the July 11th, 2017 meeting. You're no longer at the top level, which is interesting.
Right. Okay. So the wiki
which can be kind of confusing.
Has a memory. It remembers the last page you were on. So when you return to the wiki, it'll take you to that page. In this case, you just simply go back using the back arrow to get to the,
Yeah. Okay, I'm noting that because that might be something that's an interesting functionality that I hadn't noticed before.
Okay.
Okay, but anyways, I found how to get there to the Ideas Marketplace Improvement Ideas, and I don't think there's been any edits to this.
I don't believe so either.
So, I guess I would ask the same thing that we have the membership. In the VIP membership, the action is we already put it out to remind everybody to take a look at it, but now I'm going to ask that everybody at least acknowledge that they've looked at it, and if they have no edits whatsoever, that they say they have no edits whatsoever.
Okay.
So that's, I think, the action at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said before, I liked some of the ideas that you had in there. We actually had a new idea submitted today from a weather service office. So slowly we're working on things, but and I heard it was brought up at the MIC-HIC meeting as well, at least in some realm. So like Steve Smith said. So that can also provide some fodder if people take a look at that. And I think that's the action for the team, John.
And I will say this, you know, Steve, when he went in there, just by virtue of having sort of exercised the application, found a number of things that just didn't seem quite right. So I think, you know, there's, as more and more people use the tool, we should find more and more feedback, I suspect, initially. So, you know, if you want to go in and, I guess, submit an idea or something, I think we can always remove it if need be, right, Steve or Ken?
You're asking if we can remove what?
If one of the VIT members wanted to go in and actually kind of go through the process of submitting a suggestion.
Sure. Yeah, we can delete it. We could delete an entry. The only key would be is that anyone that subscribed would get the mail message, but that's probably okay, as long as you just indicate testing or something like that. So.
Cool.
What you were saying, John, that Steve Smith found some issues?
Exactly. And we were able to basically correct them on the spot, as it were. Steve, did you want to kind of mention some of those things, or?
Yeah, am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I think there was a post from Justin Arnott up in Gray, Maine this morning, and it was rather interesting. So I subscribe. See, this is a key thing that I think it leads to underutilization of VLab in a sense, because you know you can subscribe to almost everything, and if you do, when something's uploaded or added, you get a notification. So I subscribe to as much as I can, and including the Ideas Marketplace. So I got this. I saw when Justin posted this new idea, and you know it. And I went in and to the you click on a link and you actually takes you right to the Ideas Marketplace, and then you can comment on it through the forum feature. And in doing so, I saw some stuff which I said, well, this isn't exactly intuitive, and why do we need to have this, that? And so basically Ken was able to correct all those little, I mean, minor things. It was, none of them were showstoppers, but it sort of was, you know, to make ease of use clearer and more easily understood, that sort of thing. But the big thing I just, you know, comes back is, you know, subscribe. So it's like the mantra of VLab. If you know, want to have the best situational awareness, you want to subscribe to forums, you want to subscribe to the what's new, you want to subscribe to, you know, blog posts if they are, and it gives you regular reminders through that activity that something new is there that you might be interested in. So, but yeah, that was my, I mean, everything else, the functionality seemed to work as designed by my reckoning, but, you know, obviously others may find, you know, other things that could be improved, etc. But the basics seem to be there.
Okay. So yeah, it was more like minor cosmetic stuff. But that brings an interesting question. You talk about the subscribe feature. How do we know how many people are subscribed to the Ideas Marketplace, Ken or John?
I think we'd have to look at the subscription manager. So,
and only you guys can do that as admin?
No, as a community administrator, you should be able to do it as well. I'll have to check and see if you are an administrator within there.
No, I'm not, so that's why I can't see it.
Okay,
but that's it. Kind of acts like a community in that way.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be good once we. Oh, I see that. But we're under Ideas Marketplace as a whole. Do you see the subscribers?
I don't see any for the top one, so we'll have to look at that. There was an outstanding request, or there were some bugs with the subscription manager, and I think one of our other engineers Mike Giebler has fixed those, and they're waiting for me to review them and roll them out.
Okay.
So I'll make sure that one of our use cases for that is this area. See
Okay.
if it addresses this. So
Great, that would be great. And once, if you can give me admin privileges over that to see that, that'd be great as well.
okay.
Okay, I think our little tour of the Ideas Marketplace is done. And I think we have an action on that. And that takes us into you, John, with the open action item review.
Let me bring her up.
While you're doing that, any feedback or anything else from the members on the Ideas Marketplace? I know Doug was going to solicit some feedback, and I haven't heard if he got feedback. But if anybody else is able to solicit feedback on that, show it to some people, feel free to go ahead and do that. And with that, I turn it over to you, John.
All righty. So we have just a few open action items. The first one is a long-standing one involving coming up with a list of members for each VIT organization. And presumably this would be those who are sort of users of the virtual lab versus just the complete list of NOAA folks in your office. But anyway, I assume that that is still an ongoing effort, Ken?
That's a correct assumption.
All right. And then we have a couple of them that involve our strategic planning team. So one of them basically asked to finalize a draft charter, and that will obviously make some progress once we have a team lead. So that remains open. Tammy has been working on distilling from Eric Rasmussen's comments some tickets, suggested candidate VIT tickets. And I believe we have one of those formulated thus far, and I think she probably is continuing to look through his ideas. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yeah, I think the ticket that I started and that you helped me maneuver through the the roadblock sort of encompasses my sense of what he's looking for is a look and feel change to make the site more engaging. I need to get with him about maybe there's a website he can show me an example of that he likes what they do. But I think he's looking for call to action buttons and things like that maybe grab people's attention more and get them more engaged in their online community page.
Okay, cool. So I think that one will remain open, but progress is being made, so that's always good. We have that second one that I mentioned regarding the strategic planning team. Here we were talking about also within the charter incorporating the concept of coming up with policy suggestions as part of the strategic vision. And so that too will remain open, pending a good team. And then we have a couple open ones from our past meeting. The first involves, we've asked VIT members to email this request for a strategic planning lead. So we've had some good feedback there. We'll leave that open until we get full responses back from everybody. But we're making some progress on that one. And then the second one from last meeting involved basically the Ideas Marketplace, giving us some ideas on, the topics that we were looking at, ways to improve it, ways to better roll it out, let's say. And I believe that one will remain open. And basically, I need to go back to folks and ask them to either give us a positive or negative response on their efforts to review that application. So that concludes our review of open action items. Any questions? All right.
None heard. So now one of the tickets that Tammy has, is it ready to be looked at by the VIT or not, nominated candidate? or is it just waiting until there are some more tickets?
I'm not sure. Like I said, when I reviewed his presentation, it seemed like what it came down to was he wanted ways, some features on the page that would get the members of his community to actually participate in the chats and read the blog posts, et cetera, which seems to me like he's looking for, like I said, bright flashing CTA buttons or something like that. So I haven't had a chance to get with him to see if he can give me some specific examples of what he might like to see.
So it sounds like we do need maybe just a little more work on that to refine the suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, I really got the sense from the presentation that he, he wants people to engage more, but he didn't seem to give any specifics about how we could make changes to VLab that would make that happen.
Sounds good. All right, we're at the open forum. Anything else to bring up? I'll bring up one thing. Next meeting is August 8th, 2017. John, it sounds like both Doug and I will not be available for that meeting. Anybody else on this call not going to be there for the August 8th meeting?
This is David Marquette, and I will not be.
Okay. So maybe if you don't see any more attendee responses yeses for August 8th, that we may want to consider skipping that meeting, John?
Okay. Let's see.
And maybe just do like a virtual kind of thing, following up on our action items from today.
Okay. I'll put that in the notes, the minutes.
Perfect. All right. So then, what are the open action items from today?
Alrighty. So I have. Let's see. So we had the development services page that we looked at, and Ken said that he would take a look at that projects portlet to see if maybe there might be something amiss there. Is that correct, Ken?
Yeah, that's correct. We'll do some testing to see if we can generate a bug or what's going on. So
okay, because we know that there will be a delay while it's initially caching the page, right?
Yeah, if you happen to be the first person to hit it, like early in the morning or something like that, then it will take longer. But after that, I'll have to go back and look. I don't recall if we're using like a 6-hour or a 12-hour cache on that. But when we initially implemented it without the cache, it was way too slow. So that's when I requested that we add a cache to it. So.
Okay, so I will incorporate that action item. Let's see. So we need to ask VIT members for a status on sending the email, and that's a task for me to take care of, and it'll be directed to members who have not already provided their status. We'll also, so that's second action item. Third action item is to ask VIT members to either provide input on the project, the ideas marketplace, or let us know that they have no input, so we know that that process has exhausted itself. And then fourth action item is for Ken to provide admin privileges to the ideas marketplace so that Brian can access the subscription manager. And then I guess this would be a fifth action item is to, I guess Ken will look into possible problems with the subscription manager in that it didn't seem to record any subscriptions to the top level. And I didn't see Steve Smith's subscription to that one request or that one suggestion that he had talked about. Was it Justin Arnaud's suggestion? So that's a fifth action item, is to look into that possible problem.
Yeah, so I suspect that the subscription. I was pinged on it, so I'm evidently subscribed to the overarching subscription, but it's not showing up in that configuration.
Okay, cool. Were there any action items that Oh, go ahead.
So am I. So that's why I knew that it's not showing subscriptions. So. Okay. No, I think that was it.
Okay. Then that concludes my new action item review.
All right. So then, again, we'll see about the next meeting. It looks like we might do a virtual meeting, following up on some of our actions. And if indeed that does happen, our next meeting would be on the 22nd of August. All right.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.